Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Power Spike. And by latest, I do mean late. That one's on me, everyone. Sorry, I had a meeting over at the LCK a little bit later on and took a little while. So I appreciate my fantastic human beings of co-hosts Dom and Jamada for being patient. Light, our producer as well, and all of you who are watching live. If you're watching recorded, don't worry about it. Dom, you just got back from LA. How was your trip?
It was good. It was good. I haven't ever actually coached in person before, so it was nice to be able to coach in person fully. Just be able to like see all the players. It's just a really good experience overall. So I was happy with it. I think it went pretty well. So yeah, it was all good.
Jamada, if you had to guess, what was the biggest thing that Dom got to experience differently from coaching in person compared to coaching online? What would that be?
Oh, I mean, I think it's just a lot easier to have conversations. Like, weirdly enough, this is actually something I've done because in the ERLs, I was allowed to do a boot camp, which was really, really fun. So I think it's just a lot easier to, like, if a debate is going on or an argument's going on, and it's like you're there in person, you get to kind of, I don't want to say micromanage, but it's easier to kind of control the flow of conversation because there's just that human aspect, which isn't there if you're talking through a screen. Like in Dom's case, he's like the voice of God in the scrim room. I'm imagining. So yeah, that would be the main one for sure.
Was there conflict that you had to resolve or that you created?
No, not really. I mean, to be honest, like it was a pretty good week of scrim. So, we were not only winning all of the games, but we were also just like improving throughout. So I think it was a feel good week. Yesterday, I would have liked to be there because we were doing some bullshit yesterday. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on. So yesterday would have been a good day to be there. But no, I mean, it was good. And I think it's really valuable to be able to, instead of like sending a message to a player directly and like sending them a clip or being like, asking them to engage with something where I don't really know how they're like receiving it. I thought it was really good to be able to just like sit down with the player one-on-one. Like after a game, I just sit next to Blabber and I'm like, I need to do these 3 things. Like you need to focus on these 3 things in the next game. Like, and I'm going to be like, and then every time that he doesn't, do what, we're asking, be able to remind and be able to like be there in person to just like keep him accountable for everything. I thought that was like really useful personally. And yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes me, it almost made me feel like, damn, should I like go into coaching full time?
Whoa,
like, is that a possibility?
Oh.
Yeah, like, because I mean, I think that realistically, I would enjoy coaching more than streaming. Like, I think there's just higher highs when you're a coach. Like, I don't really like hate streaming or anything, but it's just being on the competitive side of things is really fun, generally. More fun than talking to a camera for 8 hours a day in your room by yourself. So it's always been something that I've been like thinking about, but it's something that I've just like as I've got to experience more and more. I mean, I think it's also been a confidence building thing where it's like, oh, I think I could really do this. Like it's you always think like, oh, as a coach streamer, I could probably be a coach, but then when you apply it, I think it's different. So yeah, I mean, it's just something that's exciting in general.
Yeah, man. That kind of revelation is always fun. We didn't do it often at Golden Guardians, but those moments where we won, there's just nothing like it. There's really nothing like the ownership that you feel in the performance and then the outcome of competition, especially at the highest levels like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is like I feel like I can do a lot in the scrims, right? But it's like when they go on stage, it's like my hands are off the. I'm like, please win the fucking game now. Like, I just hope you guys win. Like, I can't really do anything to like affect anything on the day. So it's just like, here's some reminders. Good luck. Like, and that's it. Like I can't really do anything besides for that. So, that's the part that like sucks being a remote coach is you're just like praying. You're like, oh man, please just pull through. Please just pull through.
Yeah, I mean, Jamada, your experiences with coaching, and that kind of letting them go play. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like, you have the whole week where the training wheels are on. It's like you're raising a kid, teaching how to ride a bike. Training wheels are on. Stage game, all right. Training wheels off. Send them, push them down the hill, and just hope they know to use the back brake and not the front brake, right? Yeah, it's the exact thing. And I mean, for me, that was actually initially, I mean, I was fortunate that like casting kind of came to me at that specific time. But that was one of the things that killed me. Like, if I do bold early, I'm going to attribute it to that year and a half of sending my players onto the Rift and just like having anxiety, hoping that they don't run it down on me and themselves. But it's also like the high, right? It's, hey, you've watched them do something that you've taught them, or you've helped them apply, or you've like brushed up on certain habits, or whatever it may be inside of the game that you had a tangible impact on. That's, I think, for a lot of coaches, that's the high. Like, that is what the feel good moment is. And yeah, definitely being there in person, getting to have that conversation, and then they go into game, they come out, and it's like you get to reconnect those dots immediately. It's one of the best parts about being a coach, and I think just competing in general from the staff side, as opposed to like obviously being a player.
Sure. All right. Well, glad that you had a great trip. We'll see how the C9 boys do in their upcoming matches. And actually, that's where we're going to start this episode. We start with the Galaxy Brain Club in the LTA playoffs because we got to say farewell to a couple of esports clubs in the LoL esports ecosystem as the LTA North had their first elimination matches. We said goodbye to two teams, so let's get into it. It's Galaxy Brain Club, the LTA playoffs. I guess better to say the LTA North playoffs, like elimination. It's not even the regional championship, right? It's the LTA North split 3 round 2. Round one. There
It's
we
horrible.
go. Got there.
It's just pathetic, completely.
Yeah, I just wish it was just. I guess you go from weeks to rounds. That's what it is. It's rounds. So we're in round 1 now, even though round 2 was played before round 1. Those were the bye games that Cloud9 and FlyQuest partook in. And we start off with Disguised getting their second ever series win and their first ever best of 5 win in the LTA as they defeated Dignitas 3-1 in a messy fashion, survive and move on fashion, because that's where these teams are all at. Lyon Gaming and 100 Thieves as well. And they move on with the victory here. When you took a look at this series here, Jamada, like, who jumped out at you? Like, who jumped out at you?
I mean, like, to me, I feel like when it comes to DSG, it's been very hard to be positive about them throughout the year, naturally. That said, I want to be positive and be like, hey, you know what? Like, bot lane had a good series, or mid had a good series. I'm more kind of looking over at Dig and being a bit more annoyed about how they played. I'm more of the like surrounding storyline overall of like, hey, getting rid of Surty, the whole like Surty basically like storyline, pretty much. I think though, to kind of answer the question more directly, I'd say DARKWINGS. Like, I'll give a little bit of love to DARKWINGS. I think that considering, come in you're getting one split in the LTA North, and to my understanding, he's always, well, not always, but he's been spoken about quite positively about by the NACL boys, and Digon, I think you could probably attest a bit more to that than I ever could. It was nice to see him just kind of come in, do really well into Kaney, and only really have like one off-ish game. Even then, kind of hard to really like complain about that game in isolation as well. The game 3, just because of how everything was going on, and he was arguably still probably the best performer in that game. So
Yeah,
I'd probably point towards DARKWINGS, and hopefully DSG can at least have a good showing in their next series, because obviously it'll be against C9, and I think no matter what, the bottom half of the table is still very, very far away from that top end. But I think for a confidence booster, if any of these players are going to be here next year, it's a feel good moment, right? It's a, hey, we've got a best of 5 under our belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a small anecdote for DARKWINGS. He's from the same region. He's from the DMV area, like I am, and has been around for a while. And the first time I met him, I was like, "Oh, this is my friend at a video game convention. His name's Isaac. He plays League. He's pretty good." That's how I met him. So I've known him almost as long as I've known like some of the Golden Guardians boys that I'm always glazing or whatever. And so to meet someone who went from the NACL kind of dump to then getting the opportunity over at 100 Thieves next, then St. Louis University, and then moving his way on up through that, and then getting a win in a best of 5 against a Korean mid laner. It's just such a great story. Again, they're going up against your boys here later on, Dom, but just for DARKWINGS to have this experience and be one of the homegrown feel-good stories is just awesome. And I am so glad for Isaac and everyone that supported him and all of us. It is truly a like, wow, I knew that guy. And now he's, well, is he going to be on a Worlds? Probably not. He's going up against Loki in the next round, but he was the standout player in my mind as well from the good side, I think, for DSG, and it's just super awesome for him to have that. Dom, what else jumped out at you about this series, either as a player moment, the team?
Well, for me specifically, I thought that the fact that DSG was consistently like out macroing Dig was pretty surprising. Like Dig was really bad around objectives. Like it was fucking crazy. And to see DSG actually win those was surprising considering that's been pretty much their weakness all year. I think DARKWINGS is definitely a way more stable player than Abadage was, which is, useful. I mean, normally the rookie is not going to be the most stable of players. And then Rahel is actually a legit player. Rahel's actually good.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have somebody like that instead of Scaramaya, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean it's nice to see them play better. Actually Toast is actually watching the games now, whereas like before he wasn't even like he couldn't even like he CBA'd even fucking turning on his stream. He's like, nah, I just refuse to watch this shit. Which is like that's next level. I mean, I gotta get there at some point. Like I almost got there with Ready Sack where it's like, Jesus, like you guys are so bad, you guys don't even deserve me turning on my stream to make myself money. Like that's how bad you are because I refuse to be associated with you guys, so respect to them for at least getting the owner to turn on his stream. Kind of based.
It was good. Another big thing that jumped out from this series, other than the play, was this article and these quotes that came out from the North American outlet, the homies over at Namen. It was Photon.
They're not homies at all. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Colleagues.
People I dislike, but sure.
Colleagues.
Yeah.
Who did an interview with Photon, and it depicted a picture of dysfunction. When I first came here, I saw that the team mood was really depressed. They were so toxic, I think. I tried to be positive individually and as people. I don't see these 5 players and coaches were a good fit together is the main quote that was on there. The specific quote is, I don't think time. He was asked, like, do you think having little time together was a problem? He goes, I don't think that was a problem. Honestly, when I first came here, I saw the team mood was like really depressed. They were giving harm to each other. And it's like, what do you mean? Is the question. And then they were harmed, like so toxic. I think I tried to be positive, right? But I know that's not good. And I don't think it's going to help us. But eventually we didn't fix it. So yeah, that's why it happened like that. It wasn't like it wasn't like that when I came here. So we couldn't scrim enough and we couldn't sync together. I don't think that was the problem. Individually, I don't think these 5 players and coaches were a good fit together. That's the slug line. The whole interview will be out later on. That's pretty damning. Like I don't, props to Photon for hopping in there and doing what you can in that kind of situation. But that's what do you do there? What do you do there if you're Dig?
Not a lot.
Or the GM and go next.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like, I mean, look, losing team is dysfunctional. You know, water makes you wet, grass is green. But at the same time, it really does seem like, and I mean, we even heard, you know, partly from Serty at times, like directly on the LTA broadcast, talking about his experience on Dig throughout the year as well, where it just didn't seem like whatever conversations they were having around trying to improve, trying to clean up mistakes, trying to clean up like anyone who's watched a Dig series knows what their problems are. They're not like obscure, right? But it just seemed as though whoever is like managing those conversations or whatever it may be, they just didn't have any kind of functional structure to try and fix things.
I gotta say, I think it is really bad to have 2 Korean coaches for a team that has multiple NA players on it, or like NA players on it, you know, like Western players on it. I mean, technically Australia is not Western, but you know what the fuck I mean. Like players
speaking.
that are that are, I mean, it's like not even just English speaking, it's just like non-Asians or non-Koreans. So I think that generally, like, the best way to have it done is you have like one coach for like the, you know, the white players, and then one coach for the one coach for the white players, one coach for the Asian players, you know, like, just like you have both cultures covered. So in this situation, it feels like there's a hierarchy, you know, like normally what ends up happening when you have like one coaching staff of one mindset and then another coaching, and then like players of the other mindset, is like the coaching staff and the players that are of that culture are going to just be higher in the hierarchy than the others, right? And that's going to create a, you know, toxic atmosphere almost by default. Extremely hard to manage generally when you have this type of breakdown. So I feel like, you know, there's going to be players that feel shafted by the environment. Also, there's this culture clash. I mean, we see it all the time. That's why we've had all these talks about imports and, you know, imports failing in North America. Why is that happening? It's like there's always been culture clash because obviously they do things differently in Korea than they do in North America normally. And trying to get everyone on the same page normally requires a joint effort from management and coaching staffs. So I think that's kind of like destined to fail when I see things like that. And yeah, I mean, what's weird about Dignitas is at the beginning of the year, we actually talked about this on C9. We're like, were we that bad, or did Dig get worse? Because at the beginning of the year, we felt like they were one of the best teams we scrimmed. Like, we actually thought that they were like pretty decent. Like, I thought they were going to be a 5th place team. I thought they would be worse than, you know, at the time, TL 100.
The top 4.
Yeah. Well, it was 100 at that time. So it was like Fly, C9, TL 100. It's like those would be the top 4. And then the bottom 4, you know, would be like Shopify, Dig, DSG, and then Lyon. But yeah, I don't know. They clearly were the worst. They were the worst team in the entire league. They lost to Disguise twice. And it felt like they didn't actually get better throughout the year. So it was really strange to me. Because I feel like they didn't have like a terrible roster. Like their roster wasn't horribly untalented or something. So it's very strange to see how hard they fell off.
I want to defend the coach point a little bit, because it's not like, hey, these are Korean coaches from that spent their whole career in the LCK or in OGN before that. Like, Lyra spent a chunk of his career here in North America, and I got the chance to meet him here in Korea after I moved back, and he speaks okay English, but like, you know, he knows the Western culture. He knows both. And then Rigby has spent a decent amount of time. He's head coach. He did spend a decent amount of time over with Clutch and Evil Geniuses, part of that early Evil Geniuses roster. So he too knows some of the culture. Like, is he Reapered level integrated? Definitely not. I don't think anyone is like Coach. No one's like Coach Reapered.
Yeah, but I mean, Reapered, even in our team, is like the more Korean coach than
of course,
an Arrow, right? Like, that's kind of like what it is. It's like there's just like a different fundamental like way that Koreans approach the game, which is obviously like something that is interpreted as a superior way to approach the game. If you look at results, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that like everyone is instantly bought in and you're going to be able to like incorporate other people into that system, which is why even if that is the system that your team is going to have, it's good to have somebody else that is going to be able to
be the translator.
I mean, it's not even like, like the
not translate the language, but like the
Yeah,
It's like
somebody that's
bridge.
going to bring everyone together in the team, So
you need someone that's going to bridge like the ideas basically. And a lot of the time I feel like the air quotes Western coach is going to be able to do that a little bit better. From what we tend to understand about how like Korean coaching structure works is normally they're a little bit more like I don't want to say dictatorish, right? But around anything that's basically not draft, it is more or less how it tends to run out there. Whereas I feel like over here, players tend to get, typically from the experiences I've had and what I get spoken to about, they have a lot more agency in terms of just the overall like approach of the game, right? Which is not how Korean coaching tends to work.
I mean, it's not how Korean culture works. In Korean culture, you're older than the person. It's like
exactly right. Like I mean, it's Asia culture thing in general, right? So having that balance present is just something that helps ease any potential tension. And I'm not saying that, and Digon, you highlighted, right? Rigby, they have experience over here in the West on these Western teams, but still fundamentally, if that is mentally how they potentially still operate internally, and then you don't have anyone there to ease the tensions, air quotes, translate, right? To make sure that people are on the same page and that culturally that bridge can be connected, then like you might end up in a bit of a dysfunctional situation where it's like the coaches are saying one thing, the players, if they've had experience with non-Korean coaches, feel like the default is them having far more say than they're currently probably getting on this team. And then that is just a never-ending repeating cycle where everyone's just staying mad at each other until basically you crash out 7th, 8th.
Yeah.
Hey, look, at my age, I'm down to go with the Korean system. I'm old when you listen to me. Shut the fuck up.
Well,
stop talking back.
Yeah, I only wanted to highlight that because it was, I can see at least the through line that was there, a mixture if this was a concern, but that's giving a lot of credit to a general manager and a team creator that just has not had a track record of success. This constantly happens at Dignitas. It has happened throughout the recent history. Just go to Leaguepedia
and Bakery.
Go to Leaguepedia and just tell me what color you see when you hit team results. Because I see a lot of blue, a lot of deep blue, and then 1, 3rd, 4th during the lock-in tournament.
I mean, you could say it, Digon. Dignitas peaked when I was on the team in season 2. It was never even close to as good again. It is what it is.
We had your segment already. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's just it's just tough to see. You try different things. You try, Immortals is out, man. Like you're running out of orgs to beat. You're running out of bars to clear because now you are the bar. 8th place is the finish here for Dig, and it when you have an article like Photons, again, I know what it's like to do an interview where emotions are high right after a loss. That was the whole vegan quote, whatever. However, that was pretty damning. That was pretty damning what Photon said, what Surti has said in the past, and it just feels tough. Feels like a really tough situation. I hope that Dignitas can take steps to try and make changes and make something happen again. Because it's been multiple seasons now where it's barely playoffs. I guess they do make playoffs from Split 2, but everyone makes playoffs. They did make playoffs in 2024, one season. And then you got to scroll back before you can find playoffs again. It's just been a lot of not success. And I don't know. I think Dignitas fans, let us know what it is and how you feel, because it for us to feel for you, it feels.
I was about to say all 3 of you, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel
there
like
are 0 fans of Dignitas. I don't think I've ever seen one Dignitas fan on Twitter this entire year.
They did have a lot of people on Twitter when that Twitter social media manager did that one joke. I think that wasn't great. And I was like, oh, that's so much buzz for this account. But other than that, not so great for them. Was that
the XU one?
Yeah, the XU one. That was not so good. All right. Before we get into our second series, it's time to remind you about our friends over at Into the AM. That's right. they are back with the Labor Day sale over at Into the AM. Items are up to 50% off site-wide until the 7th of September. This is into the addition to the 10% you always get off by using our link intotheam.com/LFN. That's intotheam.com/LFN. Again, you've heard us talk about it before. They've got some of the best athletic shorts. I've got some of their pants and khakis I wear on the broadcast because they're so comfortable, stretchy for my athletic body. And then you've seen all of us rep the tees, the everyday graphic tees. If you're a graphic tee guy, Into the AM has you covered with a whole slew of different colors, different graphic ideas and graphic designs. It is awesome. So make sure to check them out at intotheam.com/LFN for 10% off, an extra 10% off, where the Labor Day sale has certain items up to 50% off until September 7th. One more time, intotheam.com/LFN. If you need new clothes, you don't need to go anywhere else other than Into the AM. Thanks to our friends over at Into the AM. All right. Doom and gloom, not done yet, as we also said goodbye to another organization in the LTA North. This time, not the new one that is here. It is an old one. Not an old one like Dignitas. It is a new one in Lyon. Lyon Gaming get knocked out as well by 100 Thieves that continue their final journey here in the LTA. They lose 3-1. Dokla is in. Sniper had the tweet like, I'm here supporting the team, learning. He was in the fan cam, but Dokes was definitely not just a participant in game number one and played well. I think the team played generally well, and they deserve to be the team to move on. What'd you see here, Dom?
I think 100 Thieves is just way better now that they have Dokla than they were with Sniper. Just from like pure draft situations. Like before, they couldn't play Rumble. Like they could never play Rumble the entire season. It felt like Sniper really only played, Aatrox, Cassante, Renekton. And if he wasn't on those champions, he was probably going to run it. So, I think it's really nice that they were actually able to, open up their champion pools now with Dokla in, and they seem like a way more stable team. And really what their team is now is just, you have a pretty good top laner that can be stable. Your bot lane's okay. And you just give your mid jungle, which has always been the stars of this team, you give them room to actually breathe and like carry the game. So they just seem like they have a way higher ceiling now because they actually have the ability to like get through parts of the game, and you can't just like checkmate them in draft like you could before. So I just think overall it just seems like a way stronger team now.
Jamada?
I think from the gameplay side of things, especially game 1 and 2, I just liked how they were a lot more, I don't want to say meticulous because that would almost give them a little bit too much too much credit, but they weren't as like mindlessly aggressive at times as I feel like you would see them be in the past. And I think especially in game 1 where they were just constantly hunting Saint, I think he was on Orianna in that game, to just basically bridge off into other plays on the side lane. That is something that I don't feel like I would have seen a super coordinated 100 Thieves do like in the past, which is, I'll mark that as improvement. And I think, like Dom was saying, River and Quid had a lot more space to just kind of express themselves generally. And I think especially, again, like to highlight that game 1 in particular, I've really loved Quid on the Akali that game. Like I think Quid overall from, I actually missed the 4th game. I've watched the first 3. But the first 3 games, team fighting generally, really, really, really good. And especially on the Akali, there was one flank, I think it was towards the very end of the game, where it's like, he stays off vision. They're fighting for Dragon and like Dragon contest. He stays off vision on the entire approach, except for like 1 frame. But the 1 frame where Leon gets to see him, it's already too late. So just, again, their overall approach, they just seem a little bit calmer inside of the game. I think this was just a much better look from 100 Thieves overall. I still feel like they're still 100 Thieves, right? Like, they're still going to like fight and scrap the first 15, 20 minutes. their macro kind of after that is still going to be a little bit iffy, but it's about whether or not they've kind of accumulated a big enough lead to not, like, basically give themselves a cushion to not fuck up closing out those games at that point. And yeah, like the Lyon series, I think was a pretty good case study of that throughout.
Yeah, I think the wrinkles in which you can open up the bot lane champ a little bit more with FBI showing, hey, I can play Ziggs. Like, I think this team just needs FBI to be stable and Ayla to roam. Like, when I think about when we started the year and we're like, oh shit, Ayla he's not fucking terrible anymore. He's making plays. It was when he was roaming earlier in the year, and then it felt like everything kind of contracted later on with Sniper, unfortunately, with the limited champ pool, and then they just needed to be a team fighting team. But if Ayla gets roaming again, I think that's a little bit better.
Fuck's sake, Dom. I mean, I actually want to give Ayla some credit as well. I think his game 2 Bard there was like a sequence of like maybe 15 minutes where I don't think he could have played it any more perfect. Like every single circumstance, it was like Odilan's doing crab in the top side. It's like he's completely by himself. Ayla catches him out of a cosmic binding Q stun. He gets like a really good, or like the bot play, which is actually one of those moments in that game, is like 15, 16, 17 minutes in, where it's like they are probably about to throw. Like this was about to be a very, very classic 100 Thieves moment, but he Bardar's River underneath the tower, and they're able to get him out. And it's like, I don't think anyone thought Ayla had that kind of shit in him, but like fair play. He really, I think, saved a lot of that game. And I think if that's the kind of level of like play that we're going to get out of Ayla, then that feels good moving forward. How much more forward they get to move is obviously up for debate. But I just think all in all, this is the like 100 Thieves generally, even as the 4th place team, that we were expecting to kind of have throughout a majority of the year. And it's a shame that it took this long to get here.
Well, when Ayla has a pop off like that, it kind of has me just wondering, where's Bard in this meta right now? Because in the LCK, we have
Champ's good.
We have Keria, who feels like the best Bard in the world. We have Beryl, who looks like absolute bad. No, I'll keep it there. Absolute bad on certain champs, and then pulls out Bard and looks great. We've had other players pull out Bard, and it looks not great. Where is Bard in this meta, in your opinion, guys? Just I know I'm off tracking a little bit, but I feel like I'm having a hard time figuring out this is a good Bard angle. It's more like this is someone who can play Bard. What do you think?
For me, I think I wouldn't put him in the situational category anymore. I feel like before it was like, hey, are there 2 immobile carries on the enemy team, and is the support matchup playable? And it's like, if those criteria are met, I feel like you could have a pretty solid Bard game generally. Now I feel like it's kind of broadening up. I think like the spellbook setup has definitely helped whenever he's in lanes where he doesn't need electrocute to actually trade in the 2v2. So I think all in all, teams are just getting more used to him. He's kind of a bit more versatile than before. Again, I think in part because of spellbook a lot of the time. But teams are just squeezing out the, kind of playmaking potential from him a lot more, I feel like. I think he kind of just sits very comfortably right below pretty much all of the engaged champs for most teams. And it's like, if the engaged champs are out, and it's like, again, like the criteria of a Bard gamer is present, even like one of them instead of like just 2, you kind of get to just run a Bard game and it feels fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we say goodbye to Lyon Gaming. When you take a look at their first season here, first full year, Dom, in the LTA North, what are you going to remember about this Lyon team?
I don't think I'll remember anything about them, to be honest. I think I'll forget.
Be nice. Be nice, man.
No.
I mean, they were literally like, the thing is, so pretty much they were the team that everyone would be hyped on at some point every split, where they're like, man, this team actually could be good. And then they ended up going out with the first possible opportunity in every single split. So I don't know, like every single time that you could almost get hyped for them, they just ended up being terrible. I don't know what else to say about it. Just like kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something where they just weren't able to get it done when there was like any amount of pressure. It was just completely cooked. So that's pretty much what it was.
Saint is the only player on this roster with a contract longer than a year. Would you look to re-sign Henna?
Yeah, I mean, I think Henna was really good. I don't think he played that well in the series, though. Like, I think he played under his normal level. I mean, I thought he was potentially one of like the best like 2-3 AD carries in the league at a point. But he just plays with he plays with Lions and Audi, so it's really hard for him to actually like show what he's worth. And Sane, I think, had a pretty rough go of it. So, like, especially in the series. So I think that was the strange part about Lyon is the people that you expected to step up and carry the team kind of choked it. That's what makes it extremely rough, I would say.
I'd be fascinated to see if there are other players, whether it was in Brazil or LATAM, that Lyon tap for next year, like other than Lions and Audiland. Like obviously Audiland very experienced, in the space, but I just feel like they would have the network, they would have the reach to be able to know better if there was a better fit to be able to kind of play around with different roles, given the fact that Saint is under contract for another year. So I'm interested to see what Lyon does, and then also not being able to get Zamudo on in, like that was such a hurdle, right? Zamudo was supposed to come in and change things up. Weren't able to do that. Had Yayo, brought in Surdy, and next thing you know, season's over, and it just feels like a wash. And how much did you learn? Who's your guy that you're building around? Who's not? It's tough for an org.
Yeah, it's also such a weird season. I mean, they played no games.
Yeah.
Like no one got to play the fucking game.
The format really didn't help these guys. Like I feel like if they had more stage games, you could probably make this argument for a lot of the LTA teams, right? Like just the amount of development that you don't get to have just because of the way that the format kind of just exists.
Format is
I think
so
it just
ridiculous.
it just feels horrible, right? Like and it probably like this is one thing I'm kind of concerned about moving into Worlds, even for like the likely Fly C9 TL, whoever the heck like quals in third if it comes from LTA South as well. It's like, how much further behind are they, even compared to the LEC, who also have a pretty dog doo-doo like format because of the like infrequency of games? Like obviously, especially compared to the LCK and the LPL. Because I think it definitely hurts the bottom end of the teams. So there's no way it doesn't impact the stronger teams in the region either.
Yeah, I agree. There's a quote that came out today, literally today, I think it was. Los Gigantes Noah saying, by the way, this format is so shit. We wait 17 days to play one series and need to wait 10 days to play another series. Only 2 series in 27 days is shit crazy. Is crazy shit while LCK and LPL are playing 2 series a week. XD. And I think that just kind of, we've hit that a lot on this show. Just the amount of games that are played compared to east to west it's not a comparison, and I think it's just indicative, one of the major reasons why it's so difficult to try and improve.
So Weibo and JDG are playing 2 best of 3s against each other. Within 28 hours, both of them will be completed, right?
Okay, hold on. Wait. Now, caveat to this is there was a fucking typhoon.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't need to be against these.
Yeah, like
it doesn't need to be between these teams. If you want a different,
of course,
a different scheduling thing. Like for example, where was the week where AL played a lot? There was 1 week. Okay, so AL played
they played like 4 series in a week.
Yeah, they played.
Yeah, they had. Let me see. So in a 2-week stretch, AL played. What is it? 5 best of 3s, whereas in a 1-month stretch, Giants will have played 2. Like that is just fucked. I don't know how that could possibly be a thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, I don't know. Is what it is.
We've touched on the multiple different ways to do it, right? Just take some matches offline and just play some offline, some online, and sorry, not take them offline. Take them offline and play some online, or play some on the tournament realm, not in the stadium, whatever it is. But the amount of games that need to be played to make it closer to equal needs to go up, and to create things a little bit more competitive in the Western side. Final little bit here in the LTA North predictions. So you don't have to predict the Cloud9 one, Dom. I think let's go TL 100 Thieves. One that earlier in the year could have been, or was the number one versus number two, put respect on our organization, blah, blah, blah. And now they're fighting to exist in the rest of 2025 elimination match here. TL 100 Thieves, who you got? With this new stability that's there in the form of big dokes.
I mean, TL should win. They could maybe choke it, but they should win. Mainly because TL is pretty good at playing like consistent league. Like they're good at playing league without taking massive risks. And 100 Thieves is still the team that'll fight you everywhere all the time. And generally, when you play the way 100 Thieves does, I mean, you saw it even in the series that they played versus Lyon. There was multiple different times where they either had lost fights from ahead or they have like big throws that happen within the game, and all these opportunities will be capitalized on at some point by TL. And I just think that like Yon and APA should be able to take it home at a point.
Jamada.
5 games, 100 Thieves. I don't know what it is. I just don't trust. Like, I don't trust 100 Thieves, but I sure as fuck don't trust TL either. I think no matter what, it's just gonna be cinema. Like, it's just gonna be an unnecessarily dramatic series. I feel like I saw enough, very, again, slightly more disciplined sequences from 100 Thieves, where if that is what they come into the TL series with, I would have a little bit more faith in them to look more consistent into TL. But again, they're playing against Lyon. TL are definitely a better opponent than Lyon. If they fall back into the old habits, then yeah, like TL should still be just about good enough, even with like Impact and APA generally being underperforming, to actually just lose to that. Like TL would win in that circumstance. So I think it's going to be 5 games no matter what, but I'm leaning 100 Thieves just because I want to give them a little bit of, like, I feel like they have a bit more X factor to just randomly win a series they shouldn't compared to TL.
Yeah. That's so... I mean, it would be great for the miracle run. Last time we're going to see 100 Thieves in the LTA North, right? That would be solid. But just this Team Liquid roster who changed the hearts and minds of what people thought were possible from international North American League of Legends for a little while, based off result, based off of how they look, the eye test as well. To go out here would be tough. It'd be tough. So stakes there. Who would you rather face as a Cloud9 coach here, Tom? Like, you take care of business against DSG. Who would you rather face against these familiar foes?
I mean, I don't know, because like we're 0-2 versus 100 Thieves over the course of the year, but both losses felt pretty fake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like one of them was in winter, and it was just like a best of one. And the second one was the first game of regular season. That was where we played like Rise Lee Sin. And like, this was like when we were first learning how to play Rise, so we were really fucking bad at it. And we ended up losing. So I feel like 100 Thieves should be easier for us. But since winter, we're like 8-0 versus TL. And it feels like we always just end up beating TL. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels very hard for them to beat us. Even when they're in positive game states, it feels like we normally end up pulling it out. So I think I feel like I would rather play against 100 Thieves, even though our record hasn't been as good.
Yeah.
Just because I think they're a weaker team. Like, where TL has... like TL has players like Yon, for example. I mean, Quid is obviously good as well, but Yon's a player who can kind of like 1v9 a series if he plays really well. And I think that they have more structure in their game. So they are just a better team, in my opinion. So yeah, not sure. I guess I would rather play against 100 Thieves, but I mean, we should beat both, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
we should beat Chopped by 3-0 as well. So, who knows?
That should have happened too. And you still got the game in front of you with disguised with DARKWINGS, Huhi, and the gang. We'll see what happens there. All right. That was our deeper dive in LTA North. Before we go into some LPL and LCK upsets, it's time to remind you about our friends over at Drip Drop. Now, if you are trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, skincare, sleep, or just making it through a busy day, hydration is where it all starts. The right electrolyte powder can make all the difference, and that's why Drip Drop has been a game changer since it's come on out. Drip Drop is doctor developed, proven fast hydration, and it delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar versus the leading sports drink. You can feel the difference fast, less fatigue, more focus, no more midday crash. And that's why it's trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top pro and college sports teams. There are a lot of electrolyte powders on the market, but there hasn't been as many that taste as well or works as well or tastes as good as Drip Drop. And there are so many flavors to choose from with over 16 formula flavors plus 8 zero sugar options as well. Dom has his favorite already picked on out.
Yeah, I mean, same as last week. I got to try the rest of the flavors. So at this point, my favorite is still the cherry limeade. I think that's just the perfect mix of like sweet and sour, which is kind of what I'm going for in a drink like this. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it. I think it's high quality stuff, and yeah, it's very easy to use. So personally, cherry limeade I think is the best one, but like close second for me would be watermelon. I'm normally a peach type of guy, but peach is like, to me, I don't know, like the artificial peach is not as good as as an actual eating a peach. So like I'm more of like a watermelon cherry limeade type of guy when it comes to these.
Well, there you have it. Ton of different flavors for you to try. And right now, Drip Drop are offering the podcast listeners for us 20% off your first order. Head on over to dripdrop.com and use promo code LFN. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LFN for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. It's dripdrop.com and use the promo code LFN now. Thanks to our friends over at Drip Drop, and thanks to you guys for helping support the podcast while we're trying to get you things that will make your life better. All right, let's get into this week's Keep or Kick. It's upsets in Korea and upsets in LPL. A fun week, including today's matches since we were recording a day later. So let's get into it. Keep or Kick, LCK and LPL upsets. All right, let's start here in the LCK. Last week, we had one of the biggest ones, finally a breakthrough in the top of the standings in terms of a lesser team beating a greater team. KT taking a big, not 2-1, a 2-0 victory over T1, making the telecom war, which had turned into like the telecom summit or the telecom conference over the last couple of days, into a full-blown one-sided destruction, especially game 2 against T1. Game 1, Faker kind of taking all these crazy 1v1s against BDD, who was been the life of KT, and created some messy fights that T1 weren't able to capitalize on. And then in game 2, they tried the old strategy of dive perfect and tilt him into oblivion. That did not work, and Perfect had probably his best game as a KT professional, and they come back and win in that one 2-0. And it was a little worrying for T1 and T1 fans, but also a great sign for KT. What did you make of this series here, Dom?
I mean, to be honest, I don't think that this series really, like, this wasn't a real loss for T1, in my opinion. Like, game 1 was pretty much completely locked up, and then they just got caught. Like, the game was completely over, and then Faker just got caught in bot side jungle, and the game was lost. And it felt like game 2 was just like a grief game from T1. I still think that they're like by far the second best team in Korea. Even though they dropped a game to Hanwha Life, I didn't think that was very real either, to be honest. Like, that's another throw. Like, T1 has been throwing sometimes, but I still have confidence that when they get into a big situation, they'll not have these major catastrophes from free win positions. I mean, they're not that type of team. They're not a team that throws a lot from ahead generally. So it was interesting to see KT win. I thought BDD on Talia played exceptionally well in game 1. I mean, he was just hitting like every shove. Got a solo kill on Faker as well. I mean, Faker's been getting solo killed a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, he's getting solo kill. It's pretty dry. Like, Talia's are solo killing Faker. Happened in the last 2 series he played, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I still feel like KT just has too many flaws. BDD just can't 1v9 every game. League's not like that. You can't actually just 1v9 every game anymore. So I don't really trust the bot lane. I mean, I think with Aphelios coming a little bit back into the meta, that's pretty good for DuckDom. But overall, I don't trust them to be able to beat any of the top 3 teams. I do think that KT is like a solid 4th best team and can potentially make Worlds, but or like make the 4th place qualifier for Worlds. I just think that there's still a gap here, even though KT ended up winning.
Yeah, Jamada, what did you make of this? I guess being upset by KT, but then upsetting according to the standings against Hanwha. Not really. Upset,
yeah, not really. But like, I don't know, man. I kind of lean in the same direction of it does feel like an air quotes fake 2-0. Like, how much weight do you want to put in it, really? But also at the same time, I think there's like enough consistent bad things happening inside of these games, which are happening in the games where they're also winning, a la Faker, getting solo kill twice by Talia, and things like that. It just does feel like sometimes they leave themselves open for plays without necessarily always having a cross map prepped. And I feel like that is one of the kind of since round 3, the before MSI, the road to MSI thing. Format naming is confusing for me still for the LCK. But since that build up, that has been one of their like strong points. Is they know if they are going to concede somewhere on the map, they are going to take something elsewhere on the map. That is one of their strong points to me. And at times throughout this KT series, I feel like that wasn't always like happening the best. They still have their strong points of like, should they have ever been competitive in that game 1 in the T1 KT series? No, like no, the fuck they shouldn't have been. But that will always seemingly be like an imprint of what makes T1 and this current sort of iteration of it since 22, what they are. I think in game 2, yeah, like it's about the top dive execution. And it really bothered me. Like I actually sat there and I watched it over for like 10 minutes. And it feels like they could, like Owner didn't have to ult the top like turret. He could have just walked out. They had Carrier there as well, and they could have just locked him up in CC. But because he ults behind him, he gives perfect the out, and then the response from KT is just really, really, really good. But that kind of execution isn't something I would expect. Definitely, like not I've heard about like out of T1 in general. So it was just weird, and even I think, even though that dive was really what kind of sold the entire game, I even think very shortly after that, it was Herald. You see a lot of teams like around objectives, they'll like fake contest, right? They'll like kind of make the other team work for the objective. When you actually look at what was going on in the map state in that game when they were angling for, air quotes, angling for Herald or the mid play, Faker and Owner were looking for BDD on bot turret. Like they actually didn't care about that topside Herald at all. But it just seemed like they're in two minds. So it's like, if these things are present and they show up, like better teams will abuse them significantly harder. But I just feel like it is very inconsistent for this to happen. And it's like, okay, we need to track from this point on. Like 2 series isn't quite a pattern. Like 3 series is a pattern, right? Like 2, maybe a coincidence. If we see something like this out of T1 again, versus a Gen G like next Saturday, then it's like, okay, well, moving into playoffs, like, is this a problem? Like, is this actually now something that T1 have accidentally developed and need to work out? Because again, Gen G will abuse the shit out of them. We've seen it throughout the year, like multiple different times. HLE are still good enough to capitalize, right? What was it, 8K gold lead at peak? Some shit like that. So T1 needs to clean it up. And hopefully this is just 2 games of coincidence, but it's definitely something to be concerned about. And I think Faker, especially, I know I have like the meme moniker of like being the Faker hater guy. I'm not, but like Faker's level of play is kind of concerning in these random stretches in isolation. And I feel like it's being band-aided up by like, he's still the GOAT. Like he's still doing GOAT things in between this stuff, but it's like the lows are getting a lot lower and the highs are staying as high as they are. But it's like that floor is kind of getting scarily low considering the player that we know he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's talked about here, Dom. Like he's The last several summers, it's been drama-filled summer, and then they get their shit together. This summer's been pretty smooth sailing. They've been pretty great this summer. Yeah,
because I feel like last year's. I mean, he was the League of Legends Player of the Year. He was the esports Player of the Year in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Wasn't he just good the entire year?
All right.
Oh, it's because he did so well at MSI the 2 previous years. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it was the spring. It was because he kept on winning spring split. Oh, never mind. None of that happened. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, got it. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, when I watch Faker play, I'm not really worried about him. I think he'll get it together when it matters. I mean, he has done that for a significant amount of time. Yeah, I just think that right now, Keria just has, like, I don't know, he's just farming the other supports, honestly. I feel like he's just by far the best support in the league. I know Duro's good, but the things that Keria does, like, Keria is running these fucking games. And I think that teams need to be more cynical with Keria. Like, at this point, you know what he's going to fucking play. Like, he's going to play Bard when he has a chance to. He's going to play Poppy if there's a good Poppy angle. Ban the Keria champs. Ban Bard. Ban Poppy. Make him play like Nico and shit. I mean, he's still good at Nico, but he's not as good at Nico. Nico's more limited than those other champions. Like, if Nico doesn't have flash, he's useless for 5 minutes, whereas Poppy can still walk around, make the whole map really cringe to play. Bard can do the same thing. So try to get Keria on the normal supports, because he's actually losing his Rakan games. You know, like the Rakan game versus KT, he lost. This game too, he actually lost. I mean, he's still good on those champs, but he's not as good, and he can't do as much. So I feel like the way you beat T1 is you have to limit Keria's angles for OP picks, and you need Keria to be on something that is normal so that he's only able to do a certain amount of things within the game. Because the whole idea of like these other picks like Bard and Poppy is like Bard and Poppy they don't have the snap engage potential of like a Rel, or like they don't have the tankiness of an Alistar at a team fight. Like, they trade off team fighting ability, where Keria is very good at the team fight, so he makes these champions look good in team fights, but they're not actually as good as team fights as the engaged supports that can just like CC the whole enemy team, right?
Right.
You need to just opt into the fact that even if he plays a super insane engaged support, he's not going to be able to run around the entire map like he does on Bard and Poppy and just counteract all the plays you make while just being like showing up in random places and just dropping vision, making a fast play, then coming to the other side of the map and just making the game impossible for your team to play. You have to be more willing to just give him something strong. And if he plays a goated Alistar game, then there's nothing you can do. But I feel like Keria is doing so much in these games. Like, he is carrying almost every single game that I watch T1 win against like a good team. It feels like Keria is just 1v9ing the game.
Well, one thing I'll note about this series, and I think something that Hanwha and T1 will both think about, is that on red side, they held the same 3 bans, which was Azir, Yunara, and Pantheon, all 3 times. And in that game 3, Bard was picked in the 1-2-3 by T1. So it shows a priority that it is there. So if you were going to take Bard, you'd have to take it as your first pick, or as or one of your first 2 picks, or as drop one of your bans with Azir, Yunara, and Pantheon and have an answer for that. I think the teams are knowing that they're going to play against each other later on, and they were hiding and experimenting. And I think that's like a fun way to look at it for these top teams as we get closer and closer to playoff time and best of 5s and all that good stuff there. So the final rendition of Hanwha versus T1 goes all 3, but it still will have a unique wrinkle.
The whole thing is like, look, both teams in the Hanwha Life T1 series had locked bans on red side. I do not think that you can win these series if you are red side multiple times and you are having Azir, Yunara, Pantheon banned every single game.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're Hanwha Life, I think you need to just give things like Pantheon. You have to give Owner a Pantheon game and then just play like Peanuts, Maokai, or Sejuani into it. And that's just one of your games. And then you ban Bard. Because when they were on blue side, they banned Bard. You could see how much harder it was for like Keria to really be unlocked. I think Hanwha Life played that game miserably. I think Peanut is completely washed. I don't think he's like playing decently at all. Like, he's been looking really, really bad. And I think Delight is also just not in form. Delight just looks off. It felt like he was the guy that if you gave him an engaged support matchup into Carrier, I'd feel like he would dominate every single time. Like if you played Rakans, Alistars, Nautiluses, Leonas against each other, like only those champions are unlocked, which is pretty much what the meta was last season, right? Because, you know, we didn't have Fearless Draft and stuff. If you just had those engaged supports and you played them against each other again and again and again, the light would come out on top. But then if Carrier was able to pull out the Renata, if he was able to pull out Nico, if he was pulling out Bard, you know, Poppy support, throughout last season, if Carrier was on those champions, then Carrier would just be on a different level. So like when you look at Huddle Life now, I just think they have to accept that we're gonna need a fucking Bard ban. Like we just need a Bard ban. It is what it is. Like ban it. Let them have like trade some of these OPs. Leave up Yunara and Pantheon and like see which one they want. And if they want Yunara, then play into it. You know, like you can play Varus into Yunara. It's not like you auto lose the game if you play Varus into Yunara. You know, we saw them get Varus on 4-5 in game 1. So play some of these other matchups. You can play Corki into Yunara. You know, people have done it. It's okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that these locked bans are pretty fake. And it's really weird because in the other series, for example, in like in other games, people are are leaving up one of these champions. I don't think you leave Azir versus Faker, but I think that you can leave up Pantheon. Like I think you can leave up Pantheon. I think you can leave on Yunara. So keep one ban as a locked ban, but don't just have everything banned like this. I just don't think it's good.
Yeah, Pantheon was 5-2 in the Legend group last week, and 3-3 in the Rise group last week. So it is showing that people tried it last week and are playing into it. The better teams are obviously better at it because the global, but that was an option. That is an option, and that's why I thought these bans were kind of interesting that they just kept it locked there. And we know that that's just not going to happen. That is a big tool that the red side can utilize later on and be like, all right, let's see which one.
I don't think you could win a series really versus a team that's even or better than you by having 3 locked bans. I just think it's like too hard to actually counteract anything that they do. Like you need to have some flexibility to target things that the other team does specifically well, like play Bard, like play Poppy, you know?
Yeah. So those were a couple of the games in the LCK that happened. Over in the LPL. We had a weird, like half upset, didn't win the series, but JJ comes in over to FPX, joins on over with them, and you know, gone is the dream of 3 junglers over to BLG, and he delivers them their first game win in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. 16 games. Is their 16th game. They're able to get a win against top esports as well, mind you, at the top of the table. And not obviously just his work there, but they get it done. And then they still lose the series 2-1 in 3 games. And then the upset happened earlier today, where it was a World Elite WE getting the win over anyone's Legends, which was kind of random seeing Tiyun still alive and kicking well with Karis Monkey doing work. So when you took a look at these 2 series here, Jamato, what jumped out at you?
I mean, I'll start with the ALWE series very quickly. I just feel like the game 1 draft was not particularly playable for AL. Like, you've got a bunch of what more or less boils down to dive, right? You had Wukong, Rel, Aurora, and I think that was being piloted by Flandre that game in top. And it's like, cool. All of these AoE massive, like, and Annie, like, you want to slam. You want to just slam as many of those R's onto as many people as possible at the same time. But you're playing into Galio, Poppy, and like even Rumble. If Rumble isn't the target of your initial dive, like, Rumble will run you he will run you down after that. And I just felt like a lot of the skirmishes basically played off that throughout in a lot of the early game in this game 1. And as for game 2, as per my very text and sleep schedule, I didn't actually catch game 2. So that was what I got out of game 1. I think as for what was it, the FPX top esports series?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man. Taking a game off top esports is.
They hadn't taken a game in.
Look, I know, but like bro,
forever.
Okay,
Like six sets,
Top-
16 matches.
Here's the problem that I have about it, though. It just feels like top esports, a lot of their series wins are just 2-1s. They just are. Like, this has been a thing throughout a lot of the year. Like, they drop all of these random games because they're not like they're consistent enough to win a series, but they're not consistent enough to win a series cleanly. And this is like just their thing. And it's been like that again for a majority of this year. Did JJ come in alongside everyone else and like make the team look a little bit better? Sure, why not? Like, not gonna take that away from them in the place. Not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be that guy. What I will say is that no matter what, like, I'm gonna keep on flying this flag, guys. When FPX are knocked out and JJ's contract runs out, and the honeymoon phase runs out for Shadow, he will be there at Worlds for them. He's on a timer, I promise you. The buyout is coming, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much of a takeaway on top esports FPX because this just feels very in character for top esports. So I want to be positive for FPX, but I just don't really see them as a competitor at this point in the year now.
Yeah.
To even really be super positive about them.
All right, Dom, real quick, just because Jamada brought up this fun point. We'll play a trivia game with both of you guys. Which teams have a higher game win percentage rate than top esports? Top esports 12-2 in terms of series. In game score, 69%. Very nice, obviously. Do Billy Gaming have a higher game score percentage than top esports? Yes or no? Dom, you go first.
Dom, yeah.
No.
Golly, you can't fucking fool this guy. Answer is no. That's correct.
I mean, they lost more series, right? They lost one more series.
I think so,
yeah, one more series, but the games. Okay, IG, they are 10-3.
They do for sure.
Top esports,
they do for
12-2.
sure because this team is fucking stupid. And when it comes to stats like these, I would bet my left nut that they have a better individual game score.
You, sir, would have your left nut and I guess another left nut. Is that what you get when you bet a left nut?
No, you get a right nut.
You get a right nut.
Finally have a pair.
All right, finally
have
Jamada.
A matching pair after all this time. It's crazy that IG fucking lost to FPX 2-0. That's what I think is fucking insane.
Yeah, they have a higher win percentage, 70% compared to the 69. EDG, they're 8-2 in Nirvana.
Well,
I mean, they were dropping a game, but who gives a fuck? Yeah. They will literally. I think that they will literally just lose to WE. I think WE will beat them. So
yeah, well, okay, and then I guess my last fact was Ninja Pajamas. They have a 72% win rate.
To be fair, also FPX, like their one game that they beat against top esports, they actually had an unlosable draft. And they almost lost with this draft, but it's actually just an unlosable draft. If you look at what they have, they're playing. So here's the draft. So FPX in this game, FPX has Varus, Mbessa Vi, and Galio Nautilus. So they have full dive. And top esports has Sion, Skarner, two champions that can get dove over, Ari, a mid laner that does no damage, and Alistar. So pretty much everyone at FPX just clicks R on Yunara dies, and they automatically win the game. Like, no one can kill the Mbessa, and Mbessa wins. So, like, FPX barely won that game with, in my opinion, an unlosable draft. So, even though top esports lost that game, it doesn't really matter too much to me, because it's like, if anything, it's like, yeah, our draft was fucking bad. Like, I don't think they even played that poorly. It's just, if Jackie Love does anything in this game, as soon as he starts the auto, people drop 4 LTs onto his head, and he's just dead. There's actually no counterplay. If they had like a different if they had a different mid laner, maybe they could play. You know, if they have something that does consistent damage, they have, or something that could protect the AD carry more, maybe they can play. But with this, they couldn't play at all.
Yeah, that one of those you don't get to exist as an AD carry comps against on-hit Varus. Yeah, still on-hit Varus. Viper tried to play on-hit Varus today, and it little tough.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's getting ran down on cooldown. His teammates hate him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard to argue with how things played out today.
Dude, HLE is just Zeus, Viper, and Inshallah right now, man. Like, is just prayers like throughout. I don't know. It's tough to watch them right now, HLE.
I guess the keeper kick is which one did we learn more from? The LPL upsets or the LCK upsets?
The LCK one, I'd argue. Because I don't think there was anything to take from the LPL one. So it's not like the bar's high on this for the comparison, at least to me. I feel like the with T1 it's like at least if you want to be kind of dramatic or try to sell a narrative, it's like this is maybe the start of a potential pattern of gameplay habits, which have kind of already been present anyway. But I feel like there are a lot more on display against KT and even arguably today against HLE at points. And again, I look towards their next series. I look towards them versus Gen G, and that's where again you kind of ask the big question of: is that the version of T1 that's going to be present, but they still have all of the good stuff with them? Where when it comes to like clutching team fights, good cross maps, or is it going to be all of the bad stuff and even the good stuff kind of dwindles a bit in comparison to a Gen G who kind of just win off any minute detail?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Dom, for you?
I mean, in terms of the upsets, I mean, I'm definitely like more on the LCK side of the LCK ones. I mean, I would say neither of them really matter, but the LCK ones to me seem less important. Like, I think that, T1 will still end up being the second best team after Gen G, and I think that will still be close. Whereas you look at like the LPL side, and I think the LPL side has more variance. Like, could WE go on another run? I don't think so. Like, I'm not expecting that to happen, but it could happen because LPL is fucking random, and a lot of the teams are playing at a less high level in general. Like the general level is lower, and the disparity from like the best team to like the eighth best team is a way smaller disparity than in LCK, where first to eighth is like Gen G to fucking bro. They might as well be playing two different games. So
yep.
To me, I'm more on the side where the LCK ones are less real. The LPL ones are fine, but I still don't think that they're that big of a deal. It still feels like in LPL there's a top four, bottom four, especially of the upper group.
I'm telling you, like, people just keep coming up with these cross region battles of like the mid to low table teams, and that shit just sounds so fun. It just sounds so fun. I wish there was possibility for that to happen to at least see where they're at. Quick hits here over at the LEC. MCoy, they win the group. They have a better game score, so they win the group. So they're on top. Vitality, they had the test. They fall all the way to the fourth seed. Navi, they don't win a single game. So their first foray into European League of Legends, not so good, Jamada. Not so good for them. G2, they go 2-0 over SK, and Heretics 2-1 over BDS. Quick thoughts, Jamada?
Navi deserved it. MCoy, MCoy did not look good versus Vitality. I really want to underline this point because Vitality are a full hands no brain team, and let me tell you, MCoy still at times almost got outbrainsed, and I think that's a bad thing. That's a very, very, very bad thing. I'm concerned about them, man. I'm really concerned about them. And then what was the other team you said? It was BDS, right? Yeah, they ain't doing much in playoffs. That's where my head's at with them.
They're pretty disappointing in general.
Yeah, it's like I've been liking Rooster. Shout out to him. I think his individual performances have been quite strong. But just across the board as a unit, this team just looks. They just look very, very lost. It's very reminiscent. If I don't want to draw this comparison in the sense of BDS are as good as HLE, so please don't take this as that. But it's like just watching one individual player, a la Zeus, and in this case, obviously Rooster, be so clearly better than his surrounding of like performing teammates.
Yeah.
is like a very tragic thing to watch unfold. So yeah, hopefully they get a shit together for playoffs, but I just don't see it. They are just, yeah, they're very disappointing.
I don't know. I mean, Zeus did look like the one trying to win on the Gwen in game 2 today. Just like some of Rooster's performances trying to get BDS over the line as well. All right. That does it for this week's episode. Next week, Dom, we go into, I guess you could do it now. I have to do it later this week. All pro voting. It's all pro voting time. Have you asked LPL for an official vote? You should get an official co-streamer vote for how much you've watched. What do you think?
No, I haven't asked. I don't even know if they let Western people do that. Like,
You would be media. You would just be a media vote.
yeah,
I think-
media
Yeah,
vote.
you should look into that. That would be cool.
Maybe.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, all pro votes go on in. I'll reveal my votes for next week for LCK. I finally got one. I had to push for it, but I was able to get votes this year. Let's see what else. We finish the regular season across multiple different leagues, and then we will check in with El Dominico after their first playoff match after their loss to Shopify Rebellion and the rest of the LTA. What do you got this week, Dom? Just the co-streams for LPL?
Yep. LPL, LCK. I mean, we will get play-ins starting soon in LPL. And yeah, then obviously prepping for Disguised. Like, every series is do or die at this point for us, which is, it's absolutely fucking crazy. Like, if you're in this format, it's just so insane that it's like you're winning, like, you win like every regular season match. It's the 4th week of regular season, but it's actually elimination phase, but it's regular season. And if you lose that match, every match afterwards is do or die until the end of the season, you know? Like, every match is do or die until the end of the season. So yeah, we got to put everything there, and just got to make sure that we perform the way that we should, because I know how good the team is. I know how we normally play. We just need to make sure that we tighten up everything so that all these games are unlosable.
Yep. Jamada, educational content.
Yeah, I dropped a video on my favorite champion, Alawi, and how the balanced team have no idea what they're doing with that champion, and they are butchering her. The players hate playing it now after the recent changes, and people still hate playing versus it. So I hope they I hope they figure it out. Feel free to check out that video on my own channel and Jamada. And then I go to Stockholm tomorrow for NLC finals on Saturday to be candid, probably watch Los Ratones 3-0 Verdant, but hey, maybe they give us a series and we're there for more than 3 hours.
How the fuck did Nord lose? That's my question.
Fantastic question, Dom. You'll be pleased to know Jankos had a bit of a trip and fall.
Wait, did Jankos run it?
I wouldn't say ran it, but like collectively, no one on Nord really looked good.
Collectively ran
don't
it?
they have like? Isn't this their best roster? They have Zweiru and
yeah. This is by
and
far
and
their best
Tachi?
roster. Yeah. This is by far.
And they couldn't make top 3 in NLC.
Yeah, it's like the bar is the lowest it's ever been to make it to EMEA, and they couldn't hop it. So, yeah, it feels really bad. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this Verdant roster is not that bad either. Like, just from a nameplate perspective, too. Like, they've got LEC like top to bot. Their jungle and AD are also honestly individually pretty good for this level. And I think I know people get bored of the NLC talk about just for a second. Like, I actually think if they play around, like trying to abuse Velia and then also bot lane like champ pool, like specifically reckless bot lane champ pool, they have a really solid chance of being LR, because LR have looked really weird this split.
What's a solid chance? 20%?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, no. I'd say about somewhere between 15 to 20. Yeah. Like, I think this will be the finals where like LR actually drop a game, right?
Wait, so the only thing that's in the studio is in the arena is the finals. They're not even doing semifinals anymore.
Look, I'm not the GG. I didn't, I don't know
because
what.
Ruddy Sack ruined the semifinals with our performance.
It has to be. It must have been the chanting, mate. It must have been, Don Jake and the ultras asking Reckless how his piss was on semis. That must have been what it was in that long
It must
break.
have been the fan signs. There were a lot of fan signs that were.
Yeah. I don't know what the reason is. But the venue is bigger than Copenhagen. I think this one is about 4,000 to 4,500 capacity. And to the best of my knowledge, it's sold really, really well. So it's going to be pretty packed for a one-day event. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it because Stockholm is also the home of the NLC. Like, this is where the league technically started in its modern iteration. So we kind of get to go home, watch LR.
Tell me, Jamada, give it to me. Give me the real take. Should Jankos retire?
Whoa.
Should he? I mean, I think it's about time. I think he's had a good enough career, and I think realistically, he can look back on it and be happy. Like, I think people get really screw faced about like talking about players' retirement these days, and it's like, yo, the guy is 30 right now, I think, or 29. He's had a long ass playing career. He can sit back and stream and relax and enjoy himself. Like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with wanting to just hang it up. Like, if the competitive drive is still there and he wants to compete, be my guest. Like, he's still good enough to play, right? But I don't know. It almost feels like taboo talking about players retiring these days, man. I don't think it's that bad.
Can you pull up the stat? I don't know if you can. Light of the oldest professional football player in history. I think his name's Kazuyoshi Miura. Still plays pro football. Do you know how old he is?
Isn't he a goalkeeper though? Hold on.
No. He's 11. He plays forward, dude.
He plays forward. Okay, well,
Can you guess how old he is? He plays in the J League, and it's the Yokohama FC.
He's probably about 46 or 47.
No. Try
it can't be older. It can't be older.
53.
That's close. Dom,
53.
No. That's close. That's still not it. All right, can you pull it up here?
Oh my god, he looks like he is in fantastic shape. By the way, you can tell by just how he looks. But yeah, so he's older. What, like 50?
58.
He's 58, bro. He's 58.
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure that's last year's image. Like, that's Jankos, baby. Jankos,
that's impressive.
Go as long as you want, bro. Go as long as you want. Don't let
what I'm saying. Hey,
ending in his glory years ruin your participation.
Reminder, this is also what I'm saying. It's like, guys, I'm saying
that's the recent one.
It's on the individual. Like, it's what I said before. It's like, if Faker wanted to retire at the end of this year, like, or at the end of next year, if like he doesn't Worlds back to back or some shit, he has won Worlds 5 fucking times. He's a multi-millionaire. Like, if he wants to just retire and like do more personal shit and like focus on the back end of stuff, he should be allowed to do that. Like, I don't think they're obviously this is before the contract signing, right? The 4-year extension. But players in these positions, there shouldn't be like a taboo conversation to ask about, guys. We're humans, man. Like, again, if you want to start doing other things, I don't think it's bad to be like, yeah, actually retirement doesn't look that bad. Like, being a player is stressful. Like, competing week in, week out is a stressful ordeal. So I think he's already said, like, he's more or less Jankos, right? He said he's kind of more or less like soft done. It's like, maybe if a really good opportunity falls in his lap, he'll take it. But I'm not going to say that he should retire. Like, should he retire? I don't think he has to. But if he does retire, I don't think anyone should be like on his ass, like complaining about it. It's just like, cool.
Jamada says Jankos should retire. Boom. Done.
The last time Kazuyoshi Miura won a championship was not in the 2000s. It's kind of like if Jankos kept going and we're just like, hey man, you won before. It was great regional championship, but it's been a while. We'll see what happens there. I don't know how we got on that topic. Sorry. Y'all, thank you for tuning into this episode. We'll see you next week for the end of the regular season for these major leagues and for the playoffs. Bye-bye.